Live. Hey everybody, welcome to Cop Blast Podcast. Today is June 13th, 2016. As always, I am Matt of Carbon County Cop Block.
I am Scott Marshall of the Oath Accountability Project.
Rick Gonzalez, Allentown Cop Block. What's up, guys?
Not much, man. How you doing?
I've been doing good.
Yeah?
Can't complain. Woke up this morning, you know.
Hey, that's always...
Yep. Yeah. Oh, man. It's been a long day. Matt and I were out doing some cop blocking earlier.
Unfortunately, we saw more cops while we were eating, dinner than we did while we were actually out with a police scanner.
Yeah, it seems that the cop blocking in our area may have just, toned down the police interactions.
Yeah, I can't. I am honest with you. Like, we just went out, in the last week we've done about, 6 hours of cop blocking, actually out actively doing it, and didn't see one. Didn't even see one. It's crazy.
That's unbelievable. Wow. What were they all doing?
I don't know. We couldn't
who
find
knows?
them. We couldn't find them. I mean, we went to everywhere we know that they hang out. We went to the diner that's up off of 443. We went to the pizza place they're always at. We went to spots where they normally sit and try to get people for traffic violations. Nothing. We could not find a cop to save our lives.
Yeah, I mean, out of all, when you try to find a cop, you can't. They're nowhere. You can't find them.
It's once again makes you wonder, why are we paying these people so much if they're not out there? Like, they're more driven towards finding somebody that they can ticket for revenue than they are actually about being out there and stopping something while it happens. We actually sat there today and we saw a situation that we were pretty sure was going to end in police interaction. It was a guy and a girl inside of a park inside the center of town, and they were having a massive, massive public meltdown. This even got close enough to where it was in line of sight from the actual police station. Nothing.
And when we say the center of town, we mean like the main part of the town is a big rectangle, okay? And you have all the businesses and stuff on the outside, and you have the borough building down at the one end. So you got a big rectangle, and in the middle of this is this park where these people are having this meltdown. I mean, seriously, the center of town. Like they might as well have come up and been like, hear ye, for she is a cunt. Like, like that is just, it was right there, and it's nothing. So I would much rather them, stay wherever they were and not fuck with anybody.
Yeah, absolutely. It was so interesting seeing them just absolutely not give a fuck about anything.
Yeah, at one point they were in line of sight of the police station, like screaming. This girl was out there like, "Fuck you!"
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it's just nothing. So, maybe they decided to tone it down, or maybe they're just hiding from us. Who knows?
I really think with Lehighton right now, they have next month what is the 150th anniversary coming up for the town itself, and they've been doing a lot of public outreach and crap like that. And the last thing I think they want right before their big inaugural celebration, and they just rebuilt this whole park. The last thing they want is any egg on their face. So I think they're staying super quiet.
Yep, super quiet, super low key. I guarantee you the chief had to pull everybody aside and be like, all right, guys, be on your best behavior. Like, you gotta, and see, the thing is, I don't doubt that would happen, because around here, the fucking cops, they're crazy. They don't give a shit.
They're good old boys. But hey, if you guys want to call in and talk to us, we finally got ourselves a call-in line. So if you want to call us, that is 872 267-2578 or 872 Cop Blast.
And that's BLST. 872-COP-BLST. The call lines are open and tested. Hopefully they don't glitch out anymore. I don't know what exactly we did to make them fix after we broke them, but phone lines are open, so give it a call.
Yeah.
Okay, the next thing, we're gonna kind of bring the mood down a little bit, and talk about Orlando.
How can we not?
First, I just want to say that it's really really fucking tragic and really fucking terrible what happened. I'm not gonna go with that cliche bullshit thoughts and prayers because I try to put the thoughts of the terrorists out of my mind, and I don't do prayers because I'm not religious. I think it's a waste of time. So thoughts, I don't try to think about terrorists. Thoughts, the victims, it's sad. There's nothing that I can personally do about it.
But you know what? What was really cool is down in Miami after this happened. You have a terrorist who wants to sit there and divide a community, and instead, what you ended up seeing the next day was lines of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of civilians just wrapping around the corner to go and donate blood and things like that. So it had the exact opposite effect. Instead of driving people apart, it brought them together. Now, granted, it sucks that it was such an act that brought people together in such a way. But I mean, it was such a negative that at least there was a little bit of a positive at the end of the day. I mean, it's never going to be anything that will tip the scales and make this okay. I mean, this is an act that just, I mean, it's disgusting. But at least there's people stood up and wanted to make sure that they could help in any way possible. So good job to you guys out there.
And the thing that you really got to do is you got to really move on, put it behind you, and put your next step forward. Because if you dwell on this, if you harp on this, if you drag it out, they get what they want. They got the attention that they wanted. So it's really tragic for the victims, but I think I think that as Americans, we need to chin up and go about our day. Don't forget them. Don't forget them, but don't let them die in vain. Because if you give in to the fear that the terrorists want, because I mean, what the definition of terrorist? They want to cause terror. So if you don't give them the terror, then what motivation do they have?
Exactly.
So that's really sad. Now, one thing that I read online is Florida has something called the 51% law. I'm not exactly sure why they call that, but something about if you're intoxicated, you lose the right to defend yourself.
Really?
Which is kind of odd. I was reading this on a post that was shared by Lehigh Valley Cop Block earlier this morning. Severin Freeman over there shared it, and it was saying that basically these people, even if they were to have defended themselves, and most of these people were in there drinking, and the government would not have allowed them to do it. Are you looking it up right now?
No.
Oh.
But I am. Now I am. Keep talking.
So, is what you have is you have this law that forbids people to defend themselves. So they're basically, the government was impeding them and actually helped this killer kill all these people. And another thing is, when you have these gun-free zones in places where you don't allow guns, it's an easy target. I mean, if just a few people in that club had guns, and as soon as this guy came in there and started shooting, they had a couple people to take him out, that would have been much less loss of life. I mean, people will say, well, we need the police to protect us, but
Wow.
what protection did they offer here?
Yeah.
No protection whatsoever.
I
Not at
mean,
all.
they always show up a day late and a dollar short. And when I mean, wasn't it the police eventually took this guy down? But I mean, after how many people died? I mean,
Right.
if just a few people in that club were armed, I'm not going to say if just one person, because that could have been the person that gets shot first. If just a few people in that club were armed, you know, this probably would have turned out a lot differently.
They're probably
Right.
gonna have armed bouncers now.
That probably wouldn't be a bad idea. I mean, as long as you get as long as you get level-headed people, because I've known plenty of bouncers that go on power trips, and they are
Yeah,
not a
I've seen some ones out here in New York. They're pretty nuts.
yeah, they don't play around.
Unfortunately, I'm not seeing the post you're talking about, Scott.
Oh, he may have gotten rid of it. I don't know. It was either this morning or yesterday. Um,
I could see already, but I could see already this situation that happened, this horrible tragedy. This is gonna be another reason for the U.S. government to go to war again, put troops on the ground because of this. Because now it's an ISIS thing, and then you know what's funny about it? I was in New York when this happened, when it was on live TV. I was at the Puerto Rican Day Parade, and I stopped before I went to the parade. We stopped by to see some people, and they had it on their big TV on CNN.
Right.
I'm listening to them talk. This just happened. Police are still out there, and they're showing helicopter video of this event going on. And right away, they know the name. They know who did it. They know he's affiliated with ISIS. Like, how the fuck you know all this information
Right.
so fucking quickly when something like this is going on?
oh yeah, it was
Oh
all
yeah.
neatly wrapped up by the end of the
You
day.
know, so
Yeah.
this whole thing is just like another setup, like 9/11. You know, like they
Oh, here it is
purposely
right
did
here.
this. They purposely did
Or
this
like that.
for another reason to go back to Iraq to go to war.
Yeah, I
I
found
mean,
the
well,
post.
it's
Uh,
not. You're right though. I mean, it's stuff to generate control, and I mean when you generate control, I mean you do things like Sandy Hook, you do things like the Boston bombing, you do stuff like that. I'm not saying that I 100% can prove that that stuff was inside. It just seems like it's uh, pretty damn apparent to
yeah.
some.
Yeah, it's like
Um,
how you find all
but
this information within minutes.
like
Now
that,
here,
like that.
Now, here's the post that I found that I was talking about earlier. It says, like many attacks, this one was preventable, but government interference made it difficult. The Pulse Club was an establishment that serves alcoholic beverages to its customers, and as such was governed by Florida's version of the notoriously failed 51% law, the law that prevents even sober individuals from defending themselves in such gun-free zones as bars. Okay, so nobody could have a gun in there. Bars, clubs, and taverns. So all bars are gun-free zones in Florida. That's interesting. Um, any homosexual in that facility was sentenced to death to die by the state. When self-defense becomes a crime, tragedy is the only conclusion. Um, in this scenario, the patrons of the club decided to be law-abiding, and unfortunately, that is seldom the safest route. The same cops who were bringing people out are the same individuals who were tasked with making sure they could not legally defend themselves. I mean, that's just a small excerpt of this thing that they posted over at Lehigh Valley Cop Block on Facebook. Um, it's just that's crazy. They don't
Yeah.
let guns in the bars. I mean, if you're gonna have a gun, where else would you bring it? To the
Well, I mean,
bar.
I
I'm just
I know
playing,
I know
but
around here that you can't, but I also know like the entire state of Kentucky you can. So, I know it's all by area, but it really just seems like you're setting this entire area up for a real bad fucking time. I mean, I also know that you have what do you call it? Actors and actresses now coming out with. Have you seen this one red light thing? Where
oh
What I forget who it is. It's the woman who played Dr. Quinn. I don't remember her fucking name. It's not Suzanne Summers, but shit, Jane Seymour. Jane Seymour is behind this big movement where they want you to put a red light in your like above your door to let everybody know that you live in a gun-free home. It's like you want to get robbed.
And again, has anybody forgetting what exactly the red light signify? Like the
Hey.
is this like in biblical times where you got to put a marker over your door
Mm-hmm.
so that they don't come and kill you in the middle of the night?
Yep.
Because I don't think that that's how that works. I'm not sure that.
I don't
I
see how
mean,
that
what
gonna
did
work.
the red light in the back of the day signal prostitution for anybody that's I'm sure everybody knows this. How does
Yeah.
I mean Roxanne? You don't have to put on the red light. I mean, come on, what
Yep.
that song is about? You don't have to go be a hooker tonight, Roxanne. So the, when you create a gun-free zone, and actually even broader, when you make these laws and you make and you when you make these laws and things, you assume that criminals are going to abide by these laws, and no, the law-abiding citizens abide by them. And when you make laws that say that you can't have a gun, you're basically saying law-abiding citizens can't have guns.
Yep.
What?
It's just basically going, well, we know that the world is actually populated by wolves, but we would like you to be a sheep just so there's a sense of power because I mean, imagine if you have a country, the way that this is how they're looking at it, I swear to God.
They're
They're
like,
like,
look,
imagine if we
you're
had
a
a
sheep.
country. Well, they're thinking, imagine if we had an entire country armed. Every single American has themselves a gun and whatnot. Then, if they really want to, they can storm and cause a big uprising and everything. And they're like, but if we keep most of them unarmed, and any of them that's fucked up, we just take that right the fuck away from them. Well, then, okay, maybe it's not going to be as big of a problem. And all it does, like you said, is just empower those who have no problem preying upon the weak. And that's our government. They're like, yeah, that's a great system. Let's prey upon the weak. So,
They've been doing it for years.
And the thing is, the government is like, look, we're going to turn you into a sheep. But the thing is, we're going to make it, as long as everyone else is a sheep, then you'll all be safe sheep.
yep.
And it's like,
Or
well,
slaves.
it's like, wait a fucking minute, but don't you keep sheep in pens and don't you not let them do a lot of shit? What?
Aren't we on in a digital pen every single day when we walk outside? We're on CCTV and shit like that, and then
And it's like, well, wait a minute. I want to be a wolf. I want to go, I want to go and, go on adventures. And, if I have to defend myself, so be it. I'm a wolf. I can do that. Remember? It's
well,
just,
it's like,
it,
but then you watch what happens, it's people who step up and decide to go against the norm and stop being a sheep and want to have their guns and do stuff like that. They become a wolf, and, the bigger wolves
all of a
decide to
sudden
take notice, and next
they're
thing you know, there's an
radicals.
Oregon massacre. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah. Yeah, they look at people like they're radicals, like oh, you don't like the government, well, that's kind of suspicious. I think we need to talk to you
right.
somewhere. Like, what the fuck is that? That's just crazy. Okay, so our condolences to the people in Orlando, to the terrorists. I say fuck you, I'm not afraid of you, suck my asshole.
You're also
um,
dead.
yeah, well, I mean,
To all terrorists.
yeah, to all the terrorists, and even okay, that's another thing. I think terrorism is a manufactured thing, but that's for a different podcast. I'm just saying, for the fake terrorists out there, suck a dick, come get me, motherfuckers. I don't care. I'm saying that on the internet, so somebody find ISIS, give this to them, fuck you, ISIS. I'm not afraid of you, bitch asses. Come get me.
And that was Scott threatening a multi-trillion-dollar terrorist organization.
Yeah,
I
tell them
love.
to come fucking get me. If they come get me tomorrow, who gives a shit?
I mean, I'll be like, Scott, what happened to Scott? The terrorists
Uh,
took him. What are we gonna do?
just have your
I mean, at
neighbors
least I went
when
out.
you get up for work
At least I
tomorrow
went out
morning.
swinging.
When you get up for work tomorrow morning, have your neighbors start your truck for you.
And guys, remember, you guys can call in. That is 872 COPBLST 872 Cop Blast, and the number for that, if you give me a second because I lost it on the screen, is 872-267-2578. That is 872-267-2578. I know that's kind of confusing, but Cop Blast, just remember that without the A. 872 Cop Blast. Give us a call.
Yeah.
All right. So next, we have an interesting, a very interesting discussion that we want to have now, and it has to do with a recent post by the Cop Blast, by Citizens Against Cop Block. So if I can just find it here. Facebook Messenger loads unevenly, so that's where I had it. Oh, sorry, viewers. Where did I? Oh, we put it in the group chat. Here it is.
Yes,
Sorry,
we did.
guys. All right. Civilians Against Cop Block posted a picture or a screenshot of an article that was posted by Cop Block. It was really like a meme, but it was says these are some of the advantages of full legalization and this is about drugs. Number one, reduce violent crime. Number two, improve seller accountability and drug safety. Number three, reduce drug availability to children. Number four, reduce nonviolent prisoner population. 5, real crime can be dealt with. 6, encourage genuine treatment for addicts. 7, prevent drug overdoses. And number 8 is protect individual rights. So this was posted by Cop Block, and Civilians Against Cop Block. Excuse me. Civilians Against Cop Block decided to post a reply. And they post, Cop Block wants all drugs legalized. Why? Hold on. We just gave a whole list. There was a list, okay?
Yeah.
So question number 1 is why? Refer to the list. Okay. And then they say, I certainly wouldn't want cocaine, heroin, meth, or PCP legalized. Personally, I don't care if marijuana is legalized or not. They give a list of reasons why it should be legalized. I'll go through them and explain the disadvantages of legalization. Now, we wanted to go through their go-throughing. That's a,
Yes.
we wanted to go through their breakdown and, I guess rebut some of this. Now, I sent, I didn't send them a message, but I tagged them in a couple posts inviting the author of this post, who is a person that goes by the name of Recon. And I just want to remind every admin of Civilians Against Cop Block keeps their real identity or anything close to it, even pictures of themselves, hidden.
Yep.
Now, I'm not sure why that is. I mean, I use my real name. My real name is Scott Marshall.
My name
That
is
is-
Matthew Taylor.
And that is Rick Gonzalez. We all use our real names.
Yeah,
So,
and show our faces, fucking
yeah.
cowards.
Yeah, we're not afraid. We're not afraid of you. Now, we know some people in Cop Block choose to take on the pseudonym Freeman, and that's just fine. But these people and Civilians Against Cop Block, they won't show their faces. I mean, the people in Cop Block that take on the pseudonyms, we know their real names. I
Yeah.
mean, a demo freedom is Adam Bueller. I mean, that's public. That's publicly posted stuff. Um, who else?
Dio, we all know that Dio's name is, Donald O'Lucky.
Yeah. I mean, we have these pseudonames, but it's just so that some people like to choose the last name Freeman because free man.
Exactly.
But they don't hide their true names, they're out there. It's not like, hey, I'm hiding from my identity. We show our faces. These people are completely anonymous.
But I think you're missing the real core of this whole conversation, because, okay, so we show who we are, that's great and all, but at the end of the day, this comes down to the whole bullshit of war on drugs. And, honestly, I'm at the point where I do believe that, drugs should be legalized, and it's not coming down to the fact that I want to do them because I can give a shit. But what it does come down to is the fact that if it is taken away as being something that is so negatively stigmatized, then you actually have people who are really willing to help. So if you have addicts, people will help with that. You don't take people who have a problem with a substance and put them in a box and expect it to be okay. You actually have people going somewhere to get treatment if they want to. You also have kids, because kids are going to get their hands on drugs regardless whether they're legal or not, but you don't have kids buying synthetic stuff that is going to kill them over the internet on the first go around because they have no idea what the fuck they're doing. You don't have synthetic pot traveling around because who the fuck's going to buy a synthetic something when they can get the real shit no problem. They get that fake stuff.
Well,
They get
hold on, let's address this list bullet point by bullet point because I think you're getting ahead of us. You're getting a little ahead of us here. Okay. So number 1 on this list says violent crime will more likely increase. I guess cop blockers haven't had to fight someone jacked up on hard drugs. If it's legal and easier to obtain, this will become more rampant. People on these drugs have no self-control at all. Now that was in response to number 1, reduce violent crime. Now I just want to say, first they're saying, have you ever encountered somebody jacked up on hard drugs? No, I'm not normally around people that are jacked up on hard drugs, and even if I do, I tend to leave them alone unless they're trying to hurt somebody. But I really don't think that's as prevalent as there are gang shootings and cartel shootings and stuff. Those things happen every day, and
why is it happening?
multiple times, multiple times across this continent that happens.
And why does that happen? Because they're moving drugs on the black market. So if you eliminate that market out from underneath them, then there's going to be less of a violent crime between cartel shootings and stuff like that, because why are you going to spend money to buy shit from the cartel and sell it on the side of the street when you can turn around and just go to the freaking gas station and pick it up?
Yeah, exactly, and get it legal. And why are you going to sell it illegally if you could just turn around and sell it legally and not have to worry about your back? So yeah, you still have people that are going to do the drugs, and you'll still have idiots that do too much and get out of their mind. You're still going to have that. Already exists, and you're still going to have that. Okay.
Well, it exists with alcohol.
Yeah, well, it's not going to be an increased number. But what you will get rid of is the gang attacks and the cartel stuff. So you're number 1. We just
flopped.
Yeah, we just knocked that out from under you. So let's see. Number 2, which is in response to improved seller accountability and drug safety. Now they said, how would legalization improve any of this? Once the drugs are sold, there's no way to know who it will end up with. How do you make safe meth or heroin? No such thing. I think they're forgetting that the pharmaceutical companies have already accomplished this.
Yeah.
We have with these specific drugs that he mentioned, because meth, I mean, that's Adderall.
Adderall all day.
That's high grade, pure pharmaceutical methamphetamines. Okay.
And then you've got with heroin, oxycodone. You've got morphine,
all those pills.
Yeah.
I mean, Dilaudid, all of those are those are heroin. Those are pharmaceutical grade heroin.
They
So,
make
and,
this
and
shit
they,
lollipops and gummy bears.
and you know,
Okay.
technically, and I'm not going to say that that's safe because it's not super safe, but it's safer than
Regulated.
that, you know, that dirty spoon thing that we've all seen on the news when they talk about, you know, they show somebody with a dirty soot covered spoon, like, you
with
know,
water out of the gutter and
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So I would say that yeah, it would definitely improve. I mean, wouldn't it be more like a pharmacy thing, or even like a soda can? Okay, I take this soda and the soda's bad. Well, there's a number on it. I can trace it back to the machine that the Coca-Cola was bottled or canned on. That's what that number is. You can trace it back to the factory and even the machine that it ran it and the date and time. So you couldn't do that with a can of drugs?
Well, I mean, look at it this way. Let's just take Amsterdam for example, okay, where they have things like marijuana, prostitution, and even some of your harder drugs that are legalized. They're having a problem with a bad batch of coke right now over there. So what did they do? Instead of turning around and just seizing all of it, they've actually alerted the public. There's no criminal charges being pressed against anybody who wants to come in and just get that shit tested to make sure that it's not a batch that's going to kill them. Then they can turn around and
Uh,
just leave with their fucking drugs.
yeah,
Okay?
you won't get arrested for drug possession in Amsterdam. You won't.
No.
That's what the sign said. They put these signs up for the tourists. They said, "Hey, there's a bad batch of cocaine going around. Several people have died. If somebody starts breathing funny, please call us. You won't get in trouble."
Exactly.
I
I
mean,
mean,
if they did that here in America, oh my God, like so many people would be saved. But
yep.
people that are overdosing on heroin, they want to wait until they absolutely know they are going to die before
Yep.
they call anybody because they don't want to risk getting caught. Now, see,
Yep.
that's where this. Uh, so that's our response to number two. What do you think, Rick?
Well, I don't think they're ever gonna legalize drugs because they're making too much money over that. Too much money, and they making more money by having people arrested for it. So it's like I don't
Yep.
see any change. They're not gonna legalize it.
Yep. So number three on the bullet list was reduce drug availability to children, and then their response was, if children can already have easy access to alcohol, which is legal, how would this be any different?
I want to field this one. I want to field this
I mean,
one.
children having I never seen children having easy access. Like, people aren't just giving beer to children. I mean, what?
I mean, I think they're talking about like, teens and stuff like that who you find like, 13 and all that where kids start getting rebellious and start drinking and stuff like that. And I can tell you right now, yeah, you know what, I got drunk when I was 13, but I had a hell of a lot easier time finding myself weed or Molly or not Molly, but um, when I was that age than I did ever finding alcohol. Why? Because everybody had the ability to get it. It doesn't matter whether it's legal or not. People are going to have the ability to access and have possession of this and do this stuff. So once again, if you're not looking at having severe criminal penalties for having it, then when something actually happens and somebody ODs or a kid's in trouble and stuff like that, you're not worried about the fact of, oh shit, I might go to jail and lose my, let's say it's a high school kid, but like I might go to jail and lose my scholarship because I'm hanging out with somebody who just OD'd. So they just leave and let kid die as opposed to turning around and calling for help because they know that help would come as opposed to bracelets.
Yep. It's just, it's insane. It really is how obtuse, these people are. Like, they can't think past, their first knee-jerk reaction. Children. Okay, so number four is reduce nonviolent prisoner population. The response to this was see number one above. That really has nothing to do with it. The nonviolent prisoner population doesn't have to, like, okay, so this idiot says is when we talk about nonviolent prisoner population, he refers to the violent person that would be on drugs. So
Yep.
the violent person would be in jail. So we
Yep.
wouldn't be reducing that. That's a different category. That is a completely different thing altogether. So
We're talking about this refers to Homeboy, who decided that he was gonna, when he got out of college, he was gonna drive home and decided he didn't want to leave his stash because he knew it would be bad by the time he got home. So he took his weed with him, got pulled over and maybe had an ounce or so on him and got arrested. Now I was looking at, driving across state lines and bullshit that would never, affect this kid's life if, all this stuff wasn't illegal.
so we're talking about taking those people out of jail. The
Right.
non-violent, peaceful people that just wanted to get fucked up or wanted to help other people get fucked up.
Right.
It's again, lunacy. So number 5, real crime can be dealt with. Okay. So their response is there would be an increase in crime. There would be more thefts, burglaries, and robberies so addicts can get more money to feed their habits. There would also be an increase in DUIs. No, I don't think so, because if they're not out there looking for people on drugs, if they're not out there looking for drugs and people on drugs and constantly just because that's the main thing that they want is they want your drugs. It's the easiest fucking way to get somebody. Cops know that most people use drugs in some form or another. So if they can get into your car and look around, they're probably going to find drugs because people like to do drugs and they like to take their drugs with them so they can
Yep.
do them.
Well, here's a question I got for you. Okay, so if they're saying theft, burglaries, and stuff like that, right? Now, I can kind of see that being an issue when there is, a black market involved, because if I were to, let's say, want to go and buy heroin and I had no money, but I knew that my neighbor had a PlayStation 4, I could steal the PlayStation 4 and take it to the guy who sells heroin, and he's probably going to take that for heroin. But I sure as hell can't take a PlayStation 4 into a dispensary or 7-Eleven and be like, yo, how much can I get for this PlayStation 4? They're going to be like, what? Like, maybe you should go give that shit back. Bring money,
And and then the thing is, with the dispensaries, they can do okay. Your liquor store. I don't know if it's like this here, but where I come from in Virginia, the liquor store could refuse to sell alcohol to somebody who they believe has a real problem.
Right.
Why couldn't if a heroin store do that? I mean,
Right. I mean, if they're selling meth and somebody's walking in, they're missing 4 teeth, half their face is melting off, they're probably gonna be like, you know what? Nah, you're cut off. You're good. Like, no, thank you. Sorry, guy.
And instead of this person being like, oh fuck, if they're at the point where they're breaking into houses, if you don't have this bad stigma, then these people are more likely to go get help instead of trying to find another fix to make themselves feel better about themselves. So, I mean, I don't think it'll increase crime. And if it does, then people just have to learn to fucking... I mean, but there's already crime and people are already doing the drugs, so I don't think it's going to increase drug use, because in order for it to increase the crime, it would have to increase the drug use.
Right.
And I don't think that that's going to happen. It's just when you make things legal like that, it kind of takes away a little bit of the fun, but you take away the stigma, and more people are going to be getting help than are going to be getting hooked.
Right.
So that's my opinion on
I agree
the
with you.
matter. So number 6, we have encourage genuine treatment for addicts. Now, number 6, their response is drug legalization will do nothing for addicts other than give them easier access to hard drugs. How would this encourage treatment? The answer is easy. It wouldn't.
Bullshit.
Well, let's refer to my response to number 5. You take away the stigma. Okay? These people are if somebody that's using cocaine on a daily basis and they know they have a problem, they can probably hide it from their family and their friends and their loved ones that they have a real issue. But if they come out and say, "Hey, I need help," there's this really nasty stigma, and they're afraid that their family members are going to judge them, and they probably will. the truth is their family members probably will judge them. But if we stop looking at drug addicts as people lower than us and people lower in society, we could we could actually get these people the help that they need. If we look at them like people that need help, we all need help from time to time, just some more
Right.
than others. And some people, I mean, drugs don't make you a piece of shit. You
Right.
are a piece of shit, and drugs just contribute to that if you are a piece of shit. But if you're not a piece of shit, then the drugs won't contribute to your piece of shit. So you won't be a piece of shit. So I mean, some people just suck, and drugs just make them suck more. That's not the drugs' fault. Don't
But
go
at the
don't go
but
giving
also
drugs bad names because
well
I'm
also I mean let's take a look at this from a different angle. I mean, okay, so you're saying that if ooh, we have a call.
yeah. Caller, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. This is David Verner of Bunny Boots Inc.
Oh,
Hey,
how's
what's
it
up,
going,
buddy?
honey?
Oh, not so much. Just causing the usual antics online and all that stuff.
Very cool.
Yeah, we got the call-in line working. I see you didn't hesitate to jump on that.
Yeah, I decided to at least sort of get some business drummed up in this direction, obviously. I'll have to make a shout out on my next little video I do about this too. So.
Oh, all
Very
right.
cool.
Yeah, we appreciate that. So, did you want to weigh in on the whole drug conversation?
The one thing I would like to point out with the entire drug conversation is the fact that quite often, we have some great examples currently here in the United States with the states that have legalized, where we have seen actually an uptick in revenue for treatment for issues with drug addiction. And also on the top of that children are less likely to, end up doing the drug, marijuana, stuff like that, because it's now more prevalent for the adults kind of thing, and the adults are less incentivized to go and ruin their access by going into a grocery store kind of thing, buying beer for the teenager outdoors that is trying to get some cigarettes or get alcohol or something along those lines.
Right.
Yeah.
And
So,
I've sort of listened a little bit here and there on your conversation, on what was going on here with the discussion, for the point of, hey, if a person wants to get their fix, if they walk in to go buy something, they need to use cash. And so, yeah, the theft of an item now becomes a little bit more harder to turning into cash that can be used for drugs.
yeah, and
Exactly.
there's that extra step. And then there's a record of that transaction. So if you start buying drugs way outside of your means, I mean that's another tool to investigate. I mean, I'm not advocating for the cops to be investigating, getting all up in your business, but if you steal a Lexus and then all of a sudden you're buying, $100,000 worth of crack, red flag.
Yeah.
I mean, it's on a paper trail now.
Well,
So
there's also right before Buddy jumped on, I was thinking about how, saying if legalization will do nothing for addicts but give them easier access. Well, that's kind of right there taking the whole AA aspect and saying that, things like AA doesn't work because you had the prohibition of alcohol for how long, and you have people who become addicts of alcohol all the time and kick that habit through finding themselves help because the stigma has dropped a little bit on how bad alcohol is because it's something anybody can access. And I think the same thing would happen with drugs.
well, AA is kind of a bad example
I
because AA
it
has
is.
really, really bad
And
success
let me say
rates.
this: why I say that is because my mother was a drug and alcohol abuser every day. Okay, and I never thought that my mother would pass away sober, and she did. 15 years sober and clean. She decided to stop because she had enough. Like it's like when people get sick and tired of doing it, that's when they're gonna stop. We can't make people stop. Rehab, AAs, they're good and everything, but it's a disease, and people are gonna stop whenever they have enough of doing it. You know.
Right, but
Yeah.
if you take this whole thing and you take it from being in a black market sector to being in a, on the books and generating money for, yes, the state, then the state also has the ability to take funds and put it back into figuring out why people are addicted and stuff like that, and helping make it an easier process to kick.
And I mean, it would be much more normalized thing to walk into your doctor and say, "Hey, doc, I'm hooked on heroin. I need some help."
What do you
Uh,
think about it over there, Bunny?
Well, the thing is eventually we're going to have to figure out. I mean, for some of these drugs, the chemical addiction is an issue, and we're going to have to figure out a way to treat the chemical addiction. And there is a chemical addiction when it comes to like alcohol, where if you can't just sit there and drop it instantly like you can with smoking, because your body's dependent on that. And there's a few drugs out there that have that chemical addiction where you have to wean yourself off.
yeah, where you absolutely have to, or you'll die. Like benzos, Xanax. Like if you don't wean yourself, you
That's where
will
the
die.
research goes to.
Well, also, if you have things like heroin, meth, and stuff like that that's legal, yes, okay, you're still going to have people who are doing it and that they abuse it. But then, like I said, with synthetic pot, but then you don't have things coming out like, croc, that really cheap heroin that's coming out of Russia that's eating people's arms off, or flakka that's just
Oh
turning
yeah,
people into
I seen
freaking
that.
walking
Oh my god.
zombies. You have things that aren't going to completely ruin people in record time.
Yeah, but my question is the system that we have now, is this working? Is throwing human suffering at this issue, is that fixing it? Because I don't think it
No.
is. I think all you're doing is you're taking suffering and you're creating more hardship where previously there was none, and I don't think it's helping. So I think if we legalize drugs, we're going to be in the same spot we are now, because if you want drugs, you can go get drugs. It's not that hard. And I would say at this point, for a young kid, even now with drugs being illegal, it's still easier to get a bag of weed than it is to get a six-pack of beer.
Yep.
I mean, I would say that because I mean, you can hide a bag of weed in your pocket. You can't hide a six-pack in your pocket. I mean,
Or, go to a high school. How many kids do you see passing, six packs around and selling six packs out of their locker? But there's plenty of them there selling weed right out of their locker to their friends.
yeah, exactly. So go
One
ahead.
thing one thing I want to add into this, there's this YouTube channel that goes by the name of Kagurtsuman, or I can't remember how to pronounce it, but it's also known as In a Nutshell. And they do a really good video about drug addiction and how a few European countries have changed their approach with it by incentivizing a system where they don't alienize a person because of their drug addiction. In fact, they try to make an environment that is better to integrate them socially to a point where they want to no longer take it. And they also cite an interesting study from several years ago where they used rats, and the rats had a choice between cocaine water and regular water. And the studies with the single rat, they always went to the cocaine water. But if you put in a very rat-friendly environment where they could socialize with other rats, they had things to play on, they generally drank from the regular water and stayed away from the cocaine water. And so the thing is you got to create an environment where they don't want to go for that high. They want to be socially, included in all that stuff, and have an incentive to get away from that drug addiction.
Yeah,
Right.
that reminds me of a documentary that I saw on Netflix. It's called Breaking the Taboo, and it's basically along the same lines of those European countries that have taken the stigma off of drug use, and they've worked wonders. And it's narrated by Morgan Freeman. So I recommend it to anybody. It's called Breaking the Taboo. Last I checked, it was on Netflix. That was a couple months ago, so it could be gone now. But it's narrated by Morgan Freeman, so you got that nice ear butter to listen to the whole time. So I mean, you take the stigma off it, and suddenly you have this blossoming society. I think that the social benefits of marijuana I think far outweigh the medical benefits, and people just can't see it right now. But if you had a lounge where you could just go in, sit down, order yourself a blunt, and smoke it, I mean, it'd be kind of the similar as you would have with a bar, except instead of getting stupid and getting rowdy, you chill out and you get talkative, and you get friendly with people. Um, so I think we're missing a huge benefit here, just the social aspect. If you could go to a bar, sit down, and smoke a blunt, I mean, um, smoking weed, just for me, I don't know, countless friends that I still have today that I probably wouldn't have never talked to if I didn't smoke weed with them, at one point or another. So I mean, it has that ability to bring people together and to unify. I mean, it solidifies so many relationships. So if you take away the taboo, especially with marijuana, um, you'll really see our society turn into this social blossoming thing, I think.
I mean, I think that that's really, really shooting for the stars of what would happen. I mean, I don't see it being a miraculous, massive change, but honestly, I kind of do see some of the tension being cut because, I
Well,
mean,
you saw what happened in the 70s. Not well with hippies, they were sitting around and they were smoking their, the 60s and the 70s. They were really, getting into psychedelics and stuff. And you really saw these massive groups of people coming together and
yep,
just being unified. I mean, they really had a good message there. They had a good message. The execution left a little to be desired, but the message was so great and so widespread that the government said we got to shut this shit down. These people are doing psychedelics. I mean, you had these people that were resetting their consciousness all the time, and you can't hit the reset button but so many times before you say, what the fuck? You start questioning your environment, questioning society, questioning the social structure that says you have to do this and live your life like this. You start questioning it, and the government said, "Oh hell no, this is a
yep,
bad idea."
yep.
Well,
And it was really bad for them.
well, even one of Reagan's aides actually pointed out that the drug war was meant to discredit those that were in opposition of some of Reagan's policies on top of also the war in Vietnam.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
Major issue during that time period.
yeah. The civil rights people and the anti-war people, they all had this common thing, is that they did drugs. So they said, war on drugs.
Yep.
This is the perfect way. We can lock these people up. We can separate them, and we can make money while we're at it, all while pushing this agenda, giving us more power, more power. Let's make the people afraid of the drugs.
Well, then what also happened is that it shifted the focus of the people who were, you know, once had the focus of trying to bring people together. Now their focus was like, why are you taking this stuff from us? Like all we did was love each other, and they're like, shit, like it changed the entire focus because now it went from, you know, being able to relax and be in open fields and smoke weed and have fun and all that stuff to having to take that shit inside and not be out in
Yeah,
public.
and
And
hide it like it's something wrong, like it's some dirty secret that you have. You have to be afraid. You can't let your employer know, or you can't let your friends know, or your family know, because now they're gonna judge you because you're a bad person, because you like to make yourself feel good every now and again.
And one of the other things I want to touch on with the social aspect that you pointed out, also, we sort of do that already with two legal drugs that are very common. Alcohol with bars. It's a
Yep.
common occurrence to have like a company party where you drink on like around the holidays or certain special events. And then also the common smoke break where you'll have several people that will take a break at one time to do a smoke break and they'll socialize outside while they're having a quick cigarette for 5 minutes and then go back.
Oh yeah, Oh yeah,
Yep.
back when I used to smoke cigarettes, you take a smoke break and you have an instant bond with the, you know, we're rebels. We're out here. We're doing we're, you know, screw those stiffs in there. You know, we're out here having a smoke. You know,
Yep.
it was something to bond over, and you know, oh, what are you smoking? Oh yeah, I smoked these for a while. I like these, and then you have, you know, for one, you have a common ground. You have somewhere to start. You have a common place to start, and I think that's what's missing from a lot of human interaction is a common place to start, a common ground, saying, "Hey, you're into this, I'm into this, you know, let's talk about this for a minute." And oh wait, maybe you're into this too. Oh, you are. That's cool. So I mean, you got this whole the social aspect is a really I think it's a really important thing to discuss.
Yeah, and I'm also going to sort of also throw in on this. There's also two non-drug related activities that can be addicting that this applies to, and this is gambling and video games. Those both have
Mhm.
very strong social aspects to them, where people will sit down and socialize and talk about their stuff. They'll have their different types of flavors or genres or whatever they want into it, and they'll be able to socialize with people that they completely don't know. I mean, if you go to Las Vegas and sit down at a craps table, roulette, blackjack, you'll have a different kinds of people there with different from all different kinds of life, walks of life, sitting down and playing the same game and talking and interacting with each other to some extent.
Right.
Right. All right. Well, those are all good points. We're getting close to the end of the end of the close to the end
Podcast.
of the broadcast. Um, so on the line we have Bunny Boots. Go ahead and plug yourself, and then we'll let you get off the line so we can wrap up the show.
All right, yeah, I'm David Werner of Funny Boots Inc., probably one of the more known notorious guys that does the silent treatment videos. And you can catch me, of course, at Buddy Boots Inc. On the YouTube channel.
All right. Thanks for calling in, Bunny.
Absolutely.
All
Have a
right,
good
have a
night.
good day.
Take it easy, man.
All right.
All right. So first and foremost, I want to talk about copblock.org/store. That's where you can go to get all of your Copblock gear. You can get awesome shirts like this. You can get shiny badges. You can get fitted hats. They got lapel pins. You can get cards, all kind of Copblock gear, anything Copblock you want. They got it down there. Copblock.org/store. Our good friend Dio runs that, so make sure to head over there.
Absolutely. And also, don't forget to go ahead and jump on your cell phones and download Cell 411. They just did a big update, and now it is running smooth. You're not getting so many notifications from trolls. It's great. So you can let everybody know what's going on, and when you're in trouble, it's a great app. Go ahead and check that out. Also, I want to talk to you guys about 10 o'clock on Wednesday. Come over and check out myself and Severin Freeman of Lehigh Valley Cop Block on Cop Block Radio on LRN.FM or copblock.org/show. It's going to be a really interesting event this Wednesday. Love the show. It's a great one. You guys should come on over and check it out.
Yeah, I tune in every week and I love it. You guys got a great show over there, Severin. That's Severin Freeman of Lehigh Valley Cop Block. I'm Scott Marshall of the Oath Accountability Project.
I'm Rick Gonzalez of Allentown Cop Block.
And I'm Matt Taylor of Carbon County Cop Block. Once again, guys, thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to film the cops. Hold your cameras like this. Anything you film, send it to us, and if we love it, we're going to put it on air. Until next time, guys, take it easy, and we will see you next week.
All right, peace out, guys.
Peace.